And welcome to the spotlight on the one, the only Mr. Elessar The Grey, otherwise known as Amazing Yacht Destinations. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing okay. I'm not going to say great, but I'm doing okay. I
And
mean,
brother,
personally, I'm okay. I'm
I
good.
can, I can totally empathise with why you say not great, but you're still surviving, and that's the most important thing, mate.
Yeah.
Dude, you've had one hell of a insane uh life, but especially this last few weeks has been pretty fucking hard on you, hasn't it, my man?
Yes, it has. And it's not something that I think anybody can prepare for.
No.
And all I can tell everybody is, I mean, love your wife, hold them dearly, because, yeah, the unexpected can happen.
Yeah. Yeah, as you and I both found out. Now, so for those who don't know, um Elisar's wife a few weeks ago suffered a double major stroke at home. And your son witnessed it.
Yes, that is correct. He was downstairs. I mean, it happened while I actually was watching stream, and I didn't know about it. I mean, as I had my earphones on as I do now, and to more get him more immersed into the whole Daisy experience. Uh, he was downstairs. He didn't know. He told mommy, stop it," and he just finished, and I was starting to play Daisy. I just logged in, and uh, she walked in, and I'm like, "There's something wrong." I mean, gaming stopped immediately, and yeah, it turned out that she had multiple strokes at that stage, or seizures, and then from there went we had to call the ambulance, get her to the hospital, and just, yeah, get her treatment as soon as possible.
How old's your son?
My son is 12 years old.
Yep. So not like, you know, little kid, but still it would have been very upsetting for him to witness that.
Yes, I mean, this is not something that we've ever prepared him for. Um, I mean, if there is anything, it's like I would be the one that would be, how can I say, the sick one. I'm a little bit overweight and all of that.
Yeah.
And I've been into hospital once or twice before, but not she hasn't been in. And yeah, so
That's pretty much exactly. And this is when you told me about this, mate, it was kind of for me, I just said to you, I think I sent you that message. It's almost like you're writing down the exact experience that my wife and I had with ours, in that she's always been the healthy one, never had any medical. I'm always in and out of doctors and all the rest of it. And it's almost like she said, "Hold my beer. I'm going to one up you, you bastard." And it sounds like your wife did the same to you, mate.
yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I understand why you say that. It's not easy. This was, yeah. I mean, I don't know. My wife just also, like, she's never been to hospital really. I mean, once or twice,
Mm-hmm.
but then we would. I mean, it's minor stuff. It's like, oh, I've got a rash or something, or cut that needs a
Yep.
stitch or something like that. Nothing major, and we never ever procured or prepared for this. I mean, this is
Yeah.
one of the things.
How's she doing now?
She's better, and she just came out of hospital this week. They actually did a couple of cuts into her brain to remove what we now know is tumors. Um, but yeah, it's a little bit living in the sci-fi world, if I can say it this way.
Is she happy to be home?
she's extremely happy to be home. She loves being home. She loves being back with her dogs and with obviously with my son. He didn't want to go to the hospital most of the times. And he
Doesn't like it.
no, he doesn't. And he made up a name for my mom, for his mom, and say like, this is not his mom this happened to. So yeah, it's been a little bit hard on him as well.
Is he happy that Mum's home now though?
Oh yeah, he's happy.
Yeah.
And he's concerned. It's like she can't drive at the moment. She would used to be. I would travel a lot over the world. I mean, my job is generally travel and go fix things on boats and stuff. And yeah, so it's for him. She was the one dependable thing in his life, and
Yeah.
now she's a little bit different, if I can say it that way.
It's life can be cruel, can't it, my man?
Yeah. It's unfortunately, it's one of those, how can I say, the things that we not ever prepare for. How do you prepare for us?
Yeah.
I know you've suffered through it as well, and it's for me a very interesting scenario. My wife is very fortunate. She have all of her arms, legs, hands working and all of that. Her left side is more compromised than her right. But she's strong. She's a fighter, definitely. I can't say that enough. For me, it's almost a miracle that she's been through, because while she was in hospital, the first hospital where the ambulance took her, she had another stroke a day later. And so this was Saturday morning it happened. So Sunday morning it sort of happened, and we like, hey, there's something wrong. And they like, no, we just gave her medicine to sleep. She's just sleeping. And it took her basically, I now know she was in a coma at that stage, and not just sleeping. And sorry. So she threw up and swallowed it back in, and that's when the nurse is like, oh shit, here's something wrong. So we had to go do another CT scan, see there's some more bleeding on the brain. Then had to organize the transport to the main big hospital on the island and so on. And yeah, 2:00 in the morning, the doctors on a Sunday morning or Monday morning, actually, they operated. And yeah, it was a 5-hour operation. And she had on both brain sides that they had to take out now tumors, as I say.
How was the medical services in Thailand?
The first hospital, wow, it's not what we're used to in the Western world. Now, if I say this is not what we're not used to, is yes, there's nurses, there's doctors and so on, but it's very limited. So they expect somebody from the family to look after the people that's in the hospital. So like that night, I had to sleep on the floor next to her in the ward, and that's just everybody sleeps next to their family member. And if there's something wrong, you need to call the nurse. So that was also hard. I had my son, and I'm very, 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 very fortunate that one of my wife's friends flew that afternoon, after that Saturday afternoon, after it happened, flew from a different island to our island. If people want to, it's in Phuket. It's on the GoFundMe and everything as well. So she flew from to Phuket just to be here and just to help with my son, just get through the immediate things. Because if you're in a foreign country, how do you don't have that backup of your family per se,
No.
and it's a little bit hard.
That's so alien to a lot of the myself and those who are going to watch this. That I when my wife was in hospital, I knew that she had the call a nurse button. They had her hooked up to monitors and everything like that, and they basically kick you out at a certain time so that the person can just rest and heal and not have you there annoying them and all the rest of it. And that short of something that I wouldn't have been able to do anything about if it happened. In any case, I knew she was in good hands, but the fact that it's basically like I don't even know how to describe that. It's not even like Uber service. It's just that's mind blowing to me, mate.
Yeah, I mean, there is no red call me button, if I can say it that way. The button that you would press.
Yep.
They don't have that. It's like living back in the 1950s or 1914s or early 90s, if I can say.
Stick your head out in the hallway and yell, "Nurse, nurse, nurse."
I mean, she was it's a general ward. The first hospital didn't even have a, how can I say, private rooms. So she's in the normal general ward. They're not geared for head injuries or stuff like that for stroke victims. The first stroke or the first couple of strokes that she had, they thought was very small and minor and on the CT scans. And they thought, like, okay, with medication, the bleeding would stop and the pressure would go back down. So, yeah.
So she was in this hospital, and then you got moved to another hospital, and the services there were better?
Oh, way better. I mean, look, the first hospital was one of those that you're a foreigner, and I understand Phuket is a travel island, and a lot of foreigners come here and have medical emergencies, and then leave without paying the bills. So with them, it's necessary that they get payment before they do anything. The first hospital, I mean, at one stage I screamed at them, and I found out I did something illegal. I took a video of it, and I'm like, well, they all tell me that they're not going to do the CT scan to make sure that she's okay before I do a payment. And yeah, I mean, what do? You whatever money you have in your account, you pay. You want to save your wife.
Yeah.
And so even my house funds went into that and everything, and it's just like, okay, let's pay the first hospital, just let them do the next CT scan, and then when we got to the second hospital, the doctor's like, well, I'm not the financial person. I know your wife is in danger at this moment. I need to do a CT scan. I'm gonna do the operation. They already did one CT scan once she arrived in the emergency ward or ER room, if I can say it that better way. And then they like, okay, she's going back into the theater. He's going to do the operation. She's not going to wait for finances or something. If he has to wait for that, and she was scheduled for the Tuesday to do the MRI at the specific hospital. And yeah, we just had to go and do it. And I'm so grateful for that doctor. And I mean, now knowing what big pieces he cut out, I mean, the one side, I'm going to say, I mean, if I put it like this, it's a 3 centimeter by 2.7 centimeters by 1.2. So that's a big part of your brain, if I say, that they took out. So I'm grateful that, I mean, she's walking. She can do everything normally again, if I can say it that way, in a way. There is definitely things that's different. And that's part of the reason why I say I feel like I'm in a sci-fi movie. It feels like a necromancer brought my wife back to life, and she's just not the same, unfortunate. Hopefully with time it can heal. I mean, we're trying to do, and we have next week the a follow-up consultation. What is the treatments next, and so on, and as well. So, I mean, we've got just a couple of days ago the MRI scans, everything, what they did, and also then further CT scans that she did.
I'm genuinely blown away by this, mate. It's something that, you know, especially living in a country like Australia where we have such an amazing medical system here. Like this, it's just extra stress on you and your wife when you don't need it.
Yes, and I'm not. Yeah. And the other thing is, I mean, I'm on Social Security because of my work in Thailand. She's got a business, and she could have taken out Social Security. I'm not going to deny that. But she's like, oh, no, there's nothing wrong with me. She doesn't feel ill. She's not going to take it out. And I'm like, yeah, okay, we're going to save up and we're going to get a private medical aid, which is obviously we don't have to use government hospitals then. And yeah, then this happened. And it's like, wow, okay.
You just like, again, you know, it's like with my wife. If we'd asked her, if anyone had said, you know, do you need to have that? Like, we're lucky in that we do pay for private health insurance. It's just kind of, it's a bit more of a thing here in Australia, that if you can, you do. But we never would have thought that there was any reason why, you know, we might have to do, you know, a bit more extra precautions, because leading up to it, there was just no sign of it. And it's exactly the same as what's happened with you and your wife, mate. It's, again, you know, life is a prick at times, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I had a saying always that I would say life is what happens when you make other plans.
That's good, mate. That's good.
Yeah.
Sorry if I'm looking a bit distracted. I remember I said I'd be doing some giveaways during this as well, just to reward people for being in here. And you know, hopefully we're sharing the link to the GoFundMe as well that you have, to help cover these medical bills, because it's pretty insane the cost of medical bills when these sort of major things happen. You know, CT scans and surgery and all the rest of it. It's not cheap, is it?
No, I mean, I think we on 5 CT scans at the moment, 1 MRI scan. Yeah, now biopsy testing as well, and there is more to come as well. So it's not like the bills are stopping at the moment, but yeah, we need to get ahead of it and now sort it out. So the one saving grace that we do have is because she is running her own business, we've now contacted the dealer or agent, if I can say, that was helped her set up the company in Thailand. So within the next 4 months, she will then be covered by Social Security, and Social Security do cover cancer treatments, even if it's prior or so on, as long as you pay then from there on.
Yep.
It's still not ideal. I'm not going to say that, but it's better than what we have to now pay out of our pocket. And it's quite interesting how the hospitals treat us here, because they see you as a foreigner and that you are going to be actually run away. And I'm like, well, I have a house here, or I'm renting here. I live here for 10 years already. I'm not going away. I've got animals. I've got everything is here. I don't have anything to go back to. I'm not fleeing. Where do I go?
Okay, so I've just put up the first giveaway, folks. I'll be picking 8 winners, and in the order you're chosen, you'll be given the game. So the first winner will get game 1, the second winner will get game 2, and so on and so on. I've also got 6 coffee mugs being provided by the Bohemia Interactive merch account that we'll be giving away as well. I'll do another separate one for that one as well. You will need to dox yourselves, though, if you win one of them. So I can send your details through to the team so that they can ship you the mug directly from them. So good luck with anyone who enters. Just use ! raffle space and then the amount of tickets you want to enter the raffle. Those of you who've watched me before will be familiar with how this process works. So yeah, make sure you enter. Brother, one thing I'm going to say is probably a bit like myself as well, mate. At least we're a bit long in the tooth and aware that life does throw curveballs at you. And you've had one hell of a life that has helped shape you into the person you are when this moment has arrived on you. And I wanted to touch on that because even before this, I'd said to you in the few brief conversations I've had with you that I found you a very interesting person and would love to get you on and just talk about, it's kind of weird for a lot of people that I'm doing this sort of stuff now, having just been a Daisy podcast person. But I've ended up doing that, but I've got to meet so many amazing people who we all come from such varied backgrounds, but we all share this love of this brutal cock and ball torture bloody simulator game DayZ. And I think it's almost like there's kind of like a unifying threadiness in that we're all very interesting people who just enjoy this game because it's an escape from reality almost.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely use Daisy as an escape from reality. I'm not going to take that away from it. It's, for me, an amazing game. And, man, the community in Daisy is, there is no other game, I think, that has this type of community. And yeah, I'm so thankful to be part of it, and I've actually I discovered it as well. It's quite a nice escape from real life.
You grew up in South Africa.
That's correct, yes.
That was one of the things that really interested me. Yeah. I'm going to say one of my usual off-color things here, but I'm guessing some of the shit you got to see in lad just shared on Twitter. I'm not home, but wanted to share the love. Hope you're both well. Where as well as could be expected, my man. We started the interview off with that lad, but yeah, thank you for coming in. If you can share the stream as well, greatly appreciated. But sometimes I guess the world in DayZ might remind you of some of the shit you saw back home.
At times, yes. I mean, I won't say the infected reminds me of it, but the survival part of it definitely it can. Yeah.
And the capacity for, again, something that a lot of people in the West, if I'd never been in the army and gone overseas to Somalia, I wouldn't have seen what can happen when people feel truly desperate. And I'm not just talking about I didn't get the right milk in my latte, almond milk, soy, pumpkin, spice, chai, tea, coffee, whatever. I'm talking about when the government is unstable, seriously, genuinely unstable, not just orange man bad sort of thing. I'm talking about where terrible shit is happening on a large scale, both ways, as anyone with any knowledge of South Africa, pre-apartheid or during apartheid, horrible shit was happening. Post-apartheid, horrible shit is happening. But yeah, it's until you've seen just what people are truly capable of on a large scale. We all know that there are sick people out there. Your serial killers and the things like that. But when a society as a whole can start to become very scary, that's just something you don't understand until you've seen it, is it, Elsa?
No, definitely. I mean, and I've been into some rural areas as well. I mean, I've also served in the military, but in what is called the reservists, generally over the world, and what's called the commandos. And I served for 7 years in that. And yeah,
That
I
was
mean,
post-apartheid when you served, wasn't it?
yes, it was
Yep.
post-apartheid. Apartheid ended I think, in 1994.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a long story, and I'm sure we're going to touch on that
Yeah.
a little bit later on as well. But I went into 98 into the military. My brother wasn't accepted because of the other stuff. And I went in, and I served, and I saw really, really bad shit out there. I've seen when people, just on a general day, when somebody's hungry, if somebody steals food, I mean, I don't blame them. I mean, they're just trying to survive. And it sounds harsh, but less than what a dollar is worth in Australia or US dollar, they would kill you for, and just so that they can survive. And it's a harsh reality. But yeah, there's bad stuff that happened, as you said, before. Apartheid, don't get me wrong, was totally wrong. I don't agree with it.
Well, this is probably a good point to bring up what you just alluded to, in that you had a very interesting upbringing, didn't you?
Yes.
Now, I'll let you share as much as you're willing to share publicly, but similar to one of my previous guests, Cam Can't Run, you were raised by a father who had some very interesting views on the world.
Yes. I mean, to put it politely, my dad was an extremist. And that's the only way to explain it. There is no way to say that he was anything less than that. People that know some of the apartheid regimes and the far right wing people, my dad would serve with them on committees and stuff like that. And one of the extreme far right wingers was actually told my dad, like, please stop your campaigning on my platform, because it's too far right wing for the people. You can't go to it. I mean, my dad was an extremist, and I grew up as an extremist, and I'm not going to shy away and say that I was wrong. There's things that in my past that I witnessed and did and so on that I would say wasn't good, and I can't justify. Now that I know better, I do apologize for everybody. And I mean, I didn't know better. I mean, apartheid ended in '94. I remember, yeah, that even my schooling was totally different. I was what was called Standard 6 at that stage. I was 14 years old, and my dad's viewpoints and so on was so strong that the school board, the national school board, decided, like, I would become such a big problem in school that it's better if I don't go to school. And I was one of the first homeschooling kids in South Africa. Before that was even legal, they just, like, I'm acquitted from going to school because I'm going to be more of a problem to handle than that. And in today's
That's fucking insane. Like, obviously, for those who don't know, like, Elessar and I have had some conversations before, and he's given me a bit. And as much as possible, I try to say to people, don't tell me too much, because I like to find it out when I'm actually talking, and so I can be more genuine in my reactions. But Holy shit, mate. What was that like being effectively a kid at the age of 14 being told we don't want you at school? It's not because of you so much, but it's because of your family's reputation.
It wasn't actually about my family's reputation. Let's make it clear. It was what I did and how I reacted and how I was at that
Yep.
stage. I mean, to put it politely, I was indoctrinated with the beliefs of my dad, and I'm sorry to say it that way, but yeah, it was what I was brought up to do, and I had to just do it. And I did things that I'm not proud of. I was a racist at that stage. I mean, I remember a how can I say, a march that was organized with, at that stage, black people. And I'm 14 years old, and I would go with my dad and with other members of the far right wing to stop the march and say, no, these people are not. And then seeing about 10,000 coming people marching down the street towards you, and the police just comes in and like, sorry, okay, they're gonna stop those people because we're too dangerous. There is gonna be blood. And so it was an interesting upbringing.
But something you said before shows me just how far you've come from it. That you can understand now why, and this is stuff you witnessed when you were a grown up and post-apartheid, why, as terrible as it is, someone might kill someone for $1 just so that they can feed themselves.
Yeah. I mean,
that must have been a really crazy time of your life where you were starting to realize that what you'd been told, what you'd been taught was all, well, I won't say all because I don't know all of it 100% myself, but pretty much fundamentally wrong, racist, and just yeah.
Look, a lot of people gonna say it because my dad was not just a fundamentalist or a extremist in the viewpoint of being a racist. He was down that in the religious sense of way as well. So I grew up in I don't know, I can't say Christian life, but in a sect, if that's the best way to explain it, where he believed like, sorry, nobody other than the Aryan race can be saved. And when I then later at the 18 years old, under influence of friends that I've made in pubs, because that was one of the things that I could do. I could go out to a pub at 18, and that's how I started making friends, because we moved from town to town so that people don't know where we always stayed. And yeah, it was just interesting. And I found marijuana at that stage from my friends. Not a good thing. I'm not going to promote it, and it was a total taboo thing for my dad.
Not a bad thing, but it's like everything, the same as alcohol. You've got to handle it in moderation. When it becomes an all-consuming aspect of your life, then you've got a problem.
Yes. But that sort of started opening my eyes. But the one thing that I must admit, though, as well,
you went from a racist into a stoned-out hippie, is what you're saying.
No.
I'm joking. I'm just trying to bring some levity to the conversation, because it's been pretty serious to that. But yeah, I don't want it to be all doom and gloom. We've got to have a few laughs in here as well, mate.
Definitely. So the transformation took a couple of years. I'm going to be straight out with it. It started off with like, okay, we totally taboo with my dad's religion. Don't touch it. It's from the devil's backyard type of thing.
Devil's lettuce.
And then I'm like, well, this is not as bad as what my dad's religion said. What else?
So this was kind of like a light bulb moment for you. It was like, hey, if they're wrong about this, what else are they wrong about?
Yeah, so then I had to do introspective
marijuana,
view.
freeze the mind. It's all here. Elessar confirmed it, folks. Elessar confirmed it. Marijuana is the answer to everything.
I won't say it's the answer to everything, but definitely it did open my mind. It did open my mind in the way that I was like, what else could be wrong? What is what I brought up with actually there what I needed to know about? And I then like, okay, hold on. Is what I've been taught, can I look back into my ways? And is this what I've done? Reality, a great way of looking out of life. Is it going to be, how can I explain it? A good life. And if there is a heaven out there or so on, will I make it with my actions? And
how
I
bad
couldn't
was
say it,
the
but that's it.
apartheid government regime before this? Because again, that's something that I guess unless you lived there and experienced it, we can only go based off what we hear and all the rest of it. But you hear so much said about it, and looking back now with the the wise old man that you are now compared to the young dumb idiot you were back then, how bad was the regime during apartheid in your opinion?
Extremely bad. I mean, I mean, it's hard to explain because I grew up in the last part of that era. I was 14 when it actually got stopped by the government. And I remember where, as a young kid, it was, it was nothing to say that black people could, you could go and hit them, they're animals and so on. And that's part of what my dad's belief was, that a black person is an animal and not a person as such. And that was so, I'm so sorry for what my dad believed. But the one thing I must admit, though, my dad never treated black people without respect. He always felt like, okay, we need to treat people with respect, and then they could treat you back with respect. And it sounds like an oxymoron, if I can say it that way, but that is how he was. And he treated people with respect. But yeah, for him, it was like another animal walking on the face of earth. And that's how he saw it, and that's how he passed away, unfortunately. After finding marijuana, I've like, okay, moved away. I changed religions. I went into what my dad called the dark side. I went into paganism, and I'm like, well, anything that's good, I'll do to others. And that's it. That's how I lived from that moment onwards. Use what is good for me. And then
how long did it take before you got a black friend?
Not long. I mean, even in that period, I started making friends with people that I worked with because I treated them with respect. So they treated me with respect.
Did you ever have conversations about your family, and did they know who you were or who your father was, and any philosophical sort of discussions about that?
Not with black people. There was another person that I did speak to, and which was extremely interesting conversation that I had once had, and that was, I did tell you that's in a pre the show as well. Well, one of the guys that my dad, as I said, was on the committees that extreme far right wingers, and my dad would have actually okayed, or was part of that committee that okayed this guy that was a white guy, which at that stage he was an ANC supporter, and they tried to kill him with a bomb. And so years later, I end up living in Durban with him, and to see and I gain a lot of respect for him. And he later told me his story. I then knew from my dad's background that it was my dad actually that was part of those guys that actually tried to enforce killing him. So, and I spoke to him and I said, look, my dad most probably did do that, and I'm sorry for it. I can't explain to you and what went through my dad's mind. And it was a war, and people must understand that the ANC was a warring faction. They had the MK party, or there's a new MK party, which is not the old MK party, and Contoisi's way. That came out and did actual war against people in churches, against the whites. And I don't blame them for doing it, because they were fighting for their rights and to be able to come back and to be in that process. And this guy was that I lived with, I'm just going to say Garion. Garion was one of them that saw that it was wrong and then did the fighting as a white guy against them. And obviously my dad saw him as a traitor that rather should deserve death. And then years later, while I'm living there, both of them sitting on the couches opposite each other, and they're having a laugh and chatting away and having philosophical conversations and so on. And yeah. And I must also admit that in the latter part of my dad's life, when I was out of the house, he moved out of the political scene of it. So he wasn't involved in any of those political parties or movements anymore.
Did he ever have any remorse, or he stayed true to his convictions to the end?
I think he stayed true to his convictions to the end. I'm sad to report it. I mean, yeah. What happened is when I moved down to Durban,
Hate is a powerful drug, isn't it?
It's extremely powerful, and it's something that once it's ingrained into you, you need to really
smoke a joint so you can wake up to yourself.
Yeah, you need to look at yourself.
Yeah.
And as soon as you look at yourself, that's when the penny just drops, and you're like, hey, hold on, this is not what life is about. It's not going to be here to make this better.
So you've finished school, homeschooling, and you ended up joining the military. And you said that your father wasn't happy with you joining the military.
No.
What was your inspiration for wanting to join the military? Okay,
the inspiration is we were living on farms at that stage, and part of being part of the military and the commandos, the reserve forces, one of the appeals of it was that you get issued a R4 rifle, which is based on the Israeli Galil, and to protect yourself, because at that stage farm attacks was still very much a problem and was separated separately classed in the crime statistics, which now obviously it doesn't. They just count it as a normal crime. So that was the motivation. It's like, this is a way that I can protect myself, protect my community, and then serve my community where I live as well, because I then worked into the unit that was around our community. And I must also explain it that the military at that stage, the commandos, had a much more freer mandate where we could operate on our own home ground. So we would do patrols around farming
this
areas.
is in the Nelson Mandela government at the time?
Yes. Yep. Yes. So he wasn't happy with it. He's like, you might be called up, because that was one of the possibilities, that I could be called up into the permanent forces to, if there's a war breaks out, and go fight for the government. And
Okay, so that
one of
explains.
those
So I was going
risks
to
that,
ask that why your father wasn't happy with you joining the military, and now I understand. Okay,
yeah. And I
I
was
don't
like,
agree with it,
well,
but yeah, that's just, again, as I said, hate is a
yeah,
powerful drug.
it is. I mean, unfortunately, I did see a lot of things, and I mean, this is now a hot topic at the moment in the USA: the farm murders and farm attacks. I rather call it farm attacks than a farm murder, because not all attacks ends up in murder. Unfortunately, death sometimes is
Preferable outcome to
a preferable outcome to what happens to these people. And it's one of the things that I've saw in there. And that's also that, plus the weed, when I saw what hate can do to people. And goes, and I go black and white hate. If we keep on hating each other, we're going to exterminate ourselves. There is no resolve where we can resolve the problems. It's just we're going to kill each other to carry on.
question from Patty there in stream. Elessar, do you feel that you carry the weight of your father's thoughts, action, beliefs, and have you made peace with his life?
Okay, Patty. Do I weight of my father's thoughts? No, I don't. I don't feel that weight. My father's actions, I'm not gonna ever say it was good actions. I condone it. I totally condone it. I feel sad for him. I feel that he was an honorable man, and
In his own twisted version of what he thought honor meant.
yes. And as I said, this is the one thing that, let me explain it this way. When my father was buried, there was a couple of black people that wanted to attend his funeral. And one of my dad's church, for lack of a better word, priest, didn't want to actually come and do the funeral thing, because there's going to be black people there. And that's one of the things that I had to fought back. And I told him, like, you were friends with my dad. You knew my dad personally. You guys sat around tables numerous times. And this black guys that wanted to attend, or black people, and it wasn't just one guy, it was a lot of people, had so much respect for my dad that they wanted to attend, and it's their right. They want to pay respect to my dad, to his life, and the way he treated them in a respectful manner. And so it's a very difficult principle to explain to people. Like, although my dad was an extreme racist, he treated people with respect and kindness. He would not go out and the K word.
It's not complicated to me, because it's something that a lot of people struggle with. They see someone who there's one part of them that is inherently bad, and that makes them assume that everything must be bad. And I've famously said, and this is a line that I'm going to keep on using, even Hitler had a good quality about him. He liked dogs.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And everyone is capable of great acts of evil and great acts of good. And to some people, they might go more to the evil side. Other people go more to the good side. But even the goodest person out there can do an act of evil, especially, I've noticed, because I watch a lot of true crime and that sort of stuff. People who are into religion are more prone to being even more fucked up in the head when it comes to what they can justify that is inherently fucking evil, but because of their religious beliefs, they think it is good. And no, I'm not just talking about a certain religion that's the flavor of the month at the moment, good old Islam. There are so many examples of Christians and people of Christian ideology, Jews is as well. Pretty much every fucking religion has this capacity to justify inherently evil acts because their religion says it's okay to do so. And I was raised strict Roman Catholic, and I believe that there probably is something up there, but I don't think it has a strict set of rules that I need to abide by. Just as long as I'm do more good than bad, I should be okay. And it always makes me angry that people use religion to justify their evil acts that they do. And to hear this priest not want to deliver a sermon for a funeral because, man, that's did you not? Did you almost lose your shit at him?
Yes. But I also respected him because we could, at a later stage, we could talk about it. And Patty, I do see your message there. What my dad is, and that is very close to what you're saying, he was more about like preservation of the self, of the own, what's now called or was called under him as the Boer people, the white Afrikaans people. So he was more protective of them, and whatever actions he needed to take, he justified that by, okay, we're gonna do. He did not actively hate a black person or something to that extent, but he said, like, okay, this is what we need to do to survive as a nation, and so Afrikaans nation, and this is what we need to go on with. And he just didn't feel like they were people, and that was the one thing that I'm so sad that he never realized that that was the wrong thing to do and to realize in his life.
It's mind blowing. It is that people could get so caught up in something like that for what is meant to be something that's good. But yeah, it's wow. Yeah. So your time in the military, 7 years, man. You lasted in that for quite some time.
Yes, I mean, I went from a normal troop to full corporal in that time, which is not, if you put serving permanent time, it's, yeah, you know, it would be a quick jump to do from troop, lance corporal. But the time that you need to spend on the reservist was tremendous. And I was part of the reaction force. So, and then we had, how can my patrol is the Afrikaans. Sorry, my English is not the best. English is not my first language. So out on patrols,
Afrikaans.
I'm an Afrikaans person, born and raised. I mean, my mom still doesn't speak English. This is how strict Afrikaans we were. And we would go out on patrols and we would see stuff. And I've had, at that stage, we would have black troops with us as well in the commandos. And some of them were really great troops and people that I trusted with my life. And I ended up on TV doing stuff, protecting stuff, because the military, as I say, was much more open-based, or had a bigger mandate at that stage. So one of the things is why I ended up on crime scenes is murder and robbery unit, which doesn't, how can I say, was a unit, a separate unit in the police there, didn't trust their own cops there, the police force, to protect them. So they would, the normal uniform members, and they would use us to go out and go and do work to protect them, to go and arrest people, go to the crime scenes. Part of the reaction force was, if there is an attack, yeah, we were shot at stages, because these people are coming out with AKs and stuff like that. So it's not a normal guy with a knife that's quickly doing a robbery. These are people that actually did terrorist AK fighting force, that did training camps, guerrilla fighting camps, and so on, that was in there. That, so yeah, so it was a little bit interesting to see that. But during that time, I mean, some of the periods, as we could only serve about 3 months worth of time in the military, but per year. But at night, even after work, I would put in more, like about 6 months worth of work. So I've been generally quite a big long worker, work longer days, long hours, and so on.
How much of a culture shock was it for you and the rest of the Afrikaans community, the change from apartheid to post-apartheid?
It was a big shock. I mean, my father's dead now, so there was quite a couple of my father's, what I would say now called friends, which rightfully ended up in jail and serving their time, that went to extreme measures, that went into killing sprees, just to try and kill people for it. My dad believed, like, give them 2 years, the country is going to be screwed. Give them 4 years, the country is screwed. Unfortunately, there is, and I've got to be very careful how I say it. The country did go screwed, but it took now, what, I think 30 years, 31 years. And not in the way that it was. I mean, at the age of 14, when the elections happened and we sort of knew that it is going to be that the ANC is going to come into power and all of this, I had a little backpack with my how can I say, bug out bag, ready to go. And my dad is like, no, it's just hold on. It's not going to be that bad. It's going to take a while. Things are going to go bad. I mean, at that stage, we were rumors of, they called it the night of the long knives, where that it could happen, and it's going to happen on Mandela's death, and it kept on being postponed at that stage. So it was,
what, that the blacks were going to attack the whites, or the whites were going to attack the blacks?
No, the blacks were going to attack the whites.
Yep.
Now, you got to understand that in South Africa at that stage, I think it was about 6 million white people and 60 million black people.
Yeah.
It's a numbers game. I mean, yeah. And there's not enough ammo and stuff in the world that could survive if a genocide happens, because that's one of the things that my dad actively, I won't say promoted, but believed would happen, that there is a genocide, that it will happen. And yeah, I've to God hope that that never, ever, ever happens, because and I don't believe it will, actually. There is a cultural genocide that is happening in South Africa, in my opinion, but a possible Oh, how can I explain it? The genocide of people going out and killing people. That's where I'm like, I don't think that the masses are going to go for that.
It's not, and it's an interesting point you bring up there, because that term gets thrown around so much of late, and everyone, talking about whether it be Gaza or what's happening in South Africa at the moment, genocide this, genocide that, genocide this. I lean with you, mate. There's a big difference between what we're seeing in those two things as opposed to what happened for the word genocide to get created. That was the act of rounding up, collection, and extermination of every single person of those groups that they could get their hands on. And the ones who survived were fucking lucky. Whereas what's happening in those two situations is terrible, but it's not a genocide per se. There might be people, and I've seen the footage of what's happening in South Africa with the "kill the boar" chant, "kill the boar, kill the farmer" chant, and all the rest of it, and that's some scary fucking shit. But it's not at the point yet where they're rounding up the whites, putting them on the trains, and sending them to the gas chambers and things like that. There's a lot of hostility, and as much as I hate to say this, I can kind of understand it because they got treated like shit. But now I think there's a lot of people who are using that for other ulterior motives. There's issues that I understand, such as the amount of land ownership in South Africa, that the whites still own the majority of the land, and but that needs to be handled properly. And I don't understand why Nelson Mandela wasn't able to work something out there, or if he did, it got overturned by other people, or what went wrong there. But you've only got to look to one of your northern neighbours, Zimbabwe, to see how badly it can go. And Zimbabwe's now trying, begging the white farmers to come back because they took the land from them, and they went from being one of the bread baskets of Africa to terrible situation.
Yeah. Okay. If we're talking about the land ownership, there is a big misnomer in the media about that as well.
Mm-hmm.
The land survey that was done in, I think it was, I'm speaking under correction, 2007 or 97. It's quite a long time ago and they still throw out these numbers. Oh, the whites own 70% of land. That's the one claim that is being propagated by most of the leftist media, in my opinion. And I say leftist because I don't think they're objective media. And the reason why I say that is one very big problem is that land survey has been done quite a long time ago. But what is not said is the Lamsclain courts have been in force. The new thing where this now came up is the confiscation without compensation in South Africa, where they will take your land without paying you for the land or any property. And this includes your bank accounts, this includes your buildings, this includes which is in cities where there is no land claims, that the government can take it for the general good, in brackets, for the public, and not just land restitution or to rectify what happened in the past. Now, another part of the story that doesn't get...
Can you see what I've got on the screen there?
Yeah, 2017. But even that is quite a long time ago.
Yeah, it's 9 years ago. I just thought you might find that interesting. Elon Musk's AI, but it's pretty much said the figures you were talking about. 2017 land audit report, 72% of individually owned farmland. So the fact that they haven't done one in that long, the fact that they don't really know.
Okay.
It actually, this is good. It links some sources.
Yeah. but this is now also where we've got to be very careful about it. It's a long time ago, and that was farmland. Now, that land that they talk about in that report is not what is handed over to the land restitution people. And this is one of the things that nobody is saying. The people that won their court cases saying that the apartheid government took their land, and it happened, got sent back given back to the people. The people can go there and farm there and do all of that. And that land title deeds have never been handed over back to those people. It's just in the government hands. Now, the other problem
I heard something about that there's an Indian, some people who are Indian background, and they've been involved in getting a lot of the land or some. I might be misremembering, but I heard that there's some pretty bad corruption happening in the higher levels of the government. That the land isn't really going to the people per se; it's going to a select few. Yeah.
And this is the title deeds is not given to the people, which I think is so wrong. And those lands is now belongs in the government lands. And so, now it's like 70% is owned by that. But these other, how can I say, figures that's been thrown out there. So to put it in perspective, I think I'm not 100% in the numbers, but the active white farmers in that stage was something like, I think it was 70,000, and it's gone down to active white farmers as 21,000 of farmers at this stage. The number has dropped like it's a third of what it was at that stage compared to what it is now. So do you want to tell me that the 21% bought out the 71%? No, they got scared off their land and left, handed it over to either the government or whatever, or sold it to rich people per se. And it's unfortunately that land claim is not the land census needs to happen again. And it needs to be more clarified as to what the government owns at this moment. And my personal opinion, why is those titles deeds never handed over to the rightful owners, in my opinion? It sounds bad.
It's a very complex issue, because we've got something similar here in Australia, in that it's a colonized land, that the white people came, found this place where the original current inhabitants of it weren't very advanced in their development, so it was very easy for the British to come in here and just claim terra nullius, plant the flag, and it belongs to Australia now. And we're rectifying some of that. There was a historic case, I think 1996, Eddie Mabo, a Torres Strait Islander, not an Aboriginal. A lot of people don't know there's two native people to Australia, the Aboriginals and the Torres Strait Islanders, who are all pretty much in the northeast of that. But he was able to prove that he did actually own the land that was taken from him through the cultural practices and that. And the High Court of Australia agreed, and it was a landmark case. But the problem we've got is similar to what it sounds like is happening in South Africa, in that these lands that are being given back to the original inhabitants, the actual individual people aren't getting the land. They're being given to corporations and to trusts and all the rest of it. And it's really, really bad for some of the Indigenous people here in Australia, in that whilst they've technically got their lands back, it's not actually land that they own, that they have a deed to, that they can use as security to take a loan at a bank, to develop a business or anything like that. They're all living in these communities in some areas where they're pretty much, there's if you know what Australia's like, we're a very centralised population. So some of these people are living in really remote, middle of butt-fuck nowhere in Australia. They own no land. They don't own a house. They're living in a government-provided house. They're living on a government income. And there's no jobs in that region. Nothing, barring maybe some resources. And as part of the deal with the corporation or the trust that owns that land that's been given back to them, they get a monthly stipend or royalties, or I can't remember, there's a technical name for it, every month. So there's no incentive for these people to actually do anything to better their lives. And you've only got to look on YouTube to see some of the terrible, terrible shit that happens in those communities. Like, I shared a video with a mate of mine, and he literally replied with, "What in the Rorke's Drift spear chucking hell is that?" And I said, "That's a town called Dumaji or Kowanyama. I can't remember which one it was, only in the last couple of years." And it was literally Aboriginals throwing spears at each other in a fight on the street.
Wow.
And you don't hear these stories when people talk about the issues and that that are brought up. But that's the reality, because the system it's working against them. I 100% agree that some bad shit happened in the past. I didn't do it. I'm not sorry for it. I didn't fucking do it. But I can look at it and go, that was wrong. These people got treated like shit. But what we're doing now is arguably even worse, because we're just allowing these people, and it sounds like South Africa's heading the same way. There's so many of these people that, despite the fact that the government's getting this land back and enforcing the evil whites out, it's not changing the lot for the average black South African on the ground. And that's why they're committing these atrocities against some of the farmers and things like that, because they see the shit that they've got and they go, that's nice, I'd like that for myself. Or they're just fucking hungry.
Yeah. And this is what the politicians are using, and especially the one that was singing that song. He knows that the government hasn't turned over this land. So he's like, no, but it's still in the white man's hands. So he's feeling that fire, that hatred.
It's a powerful drug. I'll say it again.
It's extremely powerful. And that hatred is not going to, how can I say, go away, because land has been given back to the people, because it doesn't get back to them, unfortunately. And this is why I think South Africa's got a problem, and I hope I'm wrong. And then, as I said, I don't think a genocide will happen, but there is going to be a population or a group of them that will take out some people, go out and do their
I'm not going
matters
to
in
be a
their
bit
own
more
hands.
pessimistic, mate. I'm not going to say I don't think it won't happen. Yeah, you've only got to look to, again, one of your northern neighbours, Rwanda, to see what people are capable of when, the Houthis and the Tutsis, was it? The two people of Rwanda. Yeah. And that was a genocide where they were literally fucking taking machetes and chopping people up. The capacity is there. And I don't think it's quite at that stage, but the capacity is definitely there. And again, don't try and say I'm being racist, because white people can do fucking genocide just even more effectively. But in this case, I'm saying there is a definite potential for it to happen. And when you've got people chanting in football stadiums to literally tens of thousands of fucking people in clips that are now going viral all over the world, kill the boar, kill the farmer, you can't tell me that white South Africans aren't in danger. And I've said myself here, in Australia, we've got a bit of an issue with finding good farmers. We need to fucking have a visa program for any white South African farmers that want to come over and give them land and that, because they're fucking good farmers. Everything I hear about them, when it comes to farming, they know they're fucking shit, my man.
Yeah. I worked in the agricultural industry, and this was one of the things that before I started on my career.
Like a bloodline. Yeah, I'm a Dutch. I'm an Afrikaans South African. I need to plant some seeds and grow some shit. You could grow marijuana, mate.
I used to. I actually provided some of the, when it was still illegal in South Africa, to the farmers, um, how to do not hydroponics, foliar feeding to plants. So I was in a
Sorry, what?
field, foliar feeding. So you
Foliar
feed the
feeding.
plant. You feed the plant its micronutrients and nutrition that it needs
Mm-hmm.
through the leaves as well. So if it needs nitrogen, your leaves would turn yellow, for instance. And I was trained at, right, I was 22 when I was working there. I was trained how to identify micronutrient. Sorry, the words doesn't come. My tongue is twisting there. But what elements are the plant needing? If it's purple, it's phosphates, and how you can put it onto the leaves, what sprays you can spray onto it, and so on. It's like one of the biggest tomato farmers at that stage. I would get, was it too? I would go out and I would evaluate their plants, go into the field and like, oh, okay, you need to do more nitrogen into your feeding
You have a
schedule for
pretty
the
good
plant.
garden at home.
No, my wife was the gardener. I walked away from it.
If you never see another plant again, you'll be happy, eh?
I won't say no. I still love plants,
Yep.
but part of when I started doing I went down to Durban to go sailing to do the rest of the world, and that actually opened my eyes even more to not being a racist. I'm going to be honest with you, because then I got out of that hatred viewpoints. And so, but at that stage, how can I explain it? I got to see what farmers could do. And this is the sad part of the land restitution thing. I had to do a study, and we did 2 months where the black guy that was working with me in the company went and did the study on how the average farmer is a subsistence farmer, the black farmer, where he would not, because I was working for a seeds company, and the motive of our study was how can we provide seeds to the black farmer to motivate them to grow commercially. And they were just not interested. If they have their little small piece of in there of land, they want to grow their stuff for their family, and they have a crop of tomatoes or a crop of maize or a crop of beetroot or cabbage. If they have a couple and they can, yeah, they would be very happy with just doing that. And they would harvest the seeds from the fruit that they harvest. So they won't buy the hydroponic or the not GMO seeds, but it's there's a specific word for it. I forgot now. Where the scientists impregnate the plants and do the hybrids of different plants. So, like your tomato variants, if you grew up remembering seeing as a child, you would see what was called cat face. So there was marks on the top of your tomatoes. So they then brought in hybrids, so they would hand pollinate the flowers, and that was done in Holland. And so these seeds are not seeds that a guy on the ground is going to, it's going to be a commercial farmer that wants his fruit to look perfect and have the nice stem and all of that. So they would cross pollinate the plants. And the problem with these hybrids is you can't, if you take the fruit out, it goes back to one of the parents. So they would mix a pumpkin with a tomato, but specific varieties, and come up with these novel varieties of tomatoes, for instance, that then doesn't have these cat faces, these marks on the top. That's due to the bursting of too much water. That's also one of the things that we found out and all of that. And they would like wait on the rain. They don't want to irrigate. They don't want to stuff. And it was really interesting.
No one entered the raffle. They obviously didn't like the games that I had. That's all right. I'll find another way to give them away. But yeah, that's insane, man. So the question I have is the upbringing you've had. You join the military. You end up in farming. When did you end up on yachts? How the hell did you end up sailing yachts around the world?
Okay. The idea was I wanted to go pack fish in Alaska. I wanted to, like, okay, I love the idea of traveling, but I need money for that. And as a South African, there was a couple of websites that were advertising at that stage. I mean, at that stage already, it was starting to hard to be a white South African to find a decent job. And that earned enough. If you have a university degree or not, you're not getting the job. Sorry, you're white. You're the last person in the queue to get the job, even if your qualifications is top there. And I was like, okay, well, I'll go and pack fish in Alaska. And one of my friends had a sailing magazine, and there was a course in the magazine that said you could get your STCWs, which is a requirement if you work on any commercial vessel. And it was a sailing course down in Durban. And I'm like, well, okay. And I'm going to do this. I'll go and do that and do the course and then go back fish in Alaska, but on the boat. So then later on, I mean, the whole crab fishing stuff came out, Deadliest Catch and all of that. So I didn't know about that. It was prior to that. I was going to plan to go work on the ships rather than on land in the factories. I was like, hey, that's going to be really boring for my mind to just pack the fish, and I'll rather go out to sea. And then I fell in love with yachting, and being a technical guy and living and growing up on farms, I've got this knack of, you've got to make the tractor or a fix, and it needs to go out into the field, and you need to go make it just work. If your vehicle break down, you need to make it. And on a boat, that came in very useful, being a jack of all trades, if I can say it that way. So, and yeah, I just became then focused on working my way up, and I didn't actually want to become a captain. I wanted to become an engineer. And yeah, I started off, everybody, all my class, my courses and so on, started making me a captain, and just my pathway opened up for that, and I could work my way all the way up into being a captain, and then started doing deliveries. And I was just at the right time and right place at that stage to go to deliveries all across the world. I mean, I've been to Australia, as you said. I've told you before, I was at Mooloolaba. That was one of my
and
first.
For any Aussies watching, it is so impressive he knows how to say Mooloolaba correctly, because even Google Maps can't. Mooloolaba.
Yeah, I mean, went up across, took a boat back to South Africa. Then
any hairy moments doing this job?
Yeah, I mean, sailors, we have long-term memory loss, I would say. And once you're out there,
you've out of your head, or just selective, you choose to forget the shit that happens. What happens out sea stays out sea.
Basically, that in your mind, you forget about it when you're back on land, because some of the most magical moments of my life happened out at sea. I mean, I would not see land for a month and a half at stages. One of my last deliveries I did, sailed from Cape Town through to the Panama Canal, stopped in Panama to do the crossing from there, I stopped in Rarotonga. And then from there on, I went through the straits between the Tasmanian and Australia and went down to Melbourne. So I crossed all the way across there. And yeah, there's such magical moments. But then when a storm hits you, and this is one of the things that the people, the novice crew would ask you is like, will we experience a storm? Because they really hyped up, oh, we want to experience a storm. And then you tell them, no, you don't want to. You really, really, really don't want to experience it. But part of the reason why I fell in love with it was because of the military. We would work in a small group, and then on a yacht, you would work in a small group again. And that was outside of the military. It was one of the few places where I could find that I could sit there and work with the small group and actually accomplish a task, which in the normal 9-to-5 world, you don't expect that. The corporate world, you don't see that.
You didn't do any trips along the more hairy Horn of Africa coast?
No, I didn't do the Horn of Africa, but yes, I was chased by pirates.
Wow. You knew where I was going with that. You knew where I was going.
So no, I was chased by pirates. I left Trinidad and off the coast of Venezuela. So I had pirates chased us out at sea, and I was on a power cat, fortunately. And yeah, I specialize in catamarans actually. And so they chased us, and every time, like an aircraft, on a boat, you can call a mayday as well. Each time I
Hi from
call a
Cobra, by the way.
mayday, I see him in chat there. Love your videos, Cobra. Enjoy your live streams.
Were they shooting at you or just chasing you?
What happened is we left Trinidad. We knew there was a piracy risk, and we were again on the way to the Panama Canal. And so we saw this boat coming to us. But what was fortunate in our scenario was the sea state was against them. So the swell and the wind was against them, and they little in a little outboard. They did have AKs. We sort of prepared the boat for if something to this happened, and we discussed it beforehand as the crew members.
Are you allowed to carry firearms to protect yourself?
No. If you're traveling internationally, also the thing is, I would climb onto a newly built yacht and take it to the owner right anywhere in the world, wherever they want it. So you can't take a firearm. I mean, Australia, if you just bring meat in, you don't want to know how much, I won't say trouble, how much hassle you have with
that is insane to me. That is insane to me. I understand why we need to be careful about who has firearms in their hands, but for someone doing a job like you, where there is a much higher than me just going down to the corner store to pick up a 3-litre bottle of milk in lovely Australia, I don't need to be packing a firearm for that. Sorry, Americans, but you shouldn't fucking need to do that. But if you're going to be sailing a yacht out of Venezuela, the fact that there is no process in place where you can't work out a way to safely take a firearm with you and have it checked in and have some sort of thing just to be able to defend yourself if you fucking need to. And for anyone who says, oh, but it'll only make things worse. No, it's not going to make things worse. I honestly believe that if they'd caught you, these pirates, they probably just would have fucking shot you and tipped you overboard.
Most probably. I mean, how can I explain it? At that stage, it wasn't, the Venezuela isn't as bad as it was now.
Yep.
Or recently. I mean, I don't know how's it at this moment. But it was drug smugglers that would use these yachts that would attack them. They would take the yacht and they would then transport drugs with that across, because then they have a new vessel that can go long distances and all of that. I did have a female crew on board, which was an extremely big worry, and we were only 3 people on board. So yeah, it's an interesting scenario. I mean, one of our plans was to use flares, and your normal handheld flares that you would pop out.
But shoot them at them.
Yeah, you aim it, so you would put the flare like this and aim it at them.
Dude,
hopefully
that's desperation. Dude's got an AK, I've got a flare. Come at me, bro. But at the end of the day, if you're fighting for your fucking life, you'll do anything, won't you?
Yes. So one of the other things that we did as well, we put lines behind our boat, the mooring lines that we use to tie up the boat. We trailed that behind us because they have
share the propeller.
And we would, if they would come too close, we would swing in front of them to caught their propeller, the rope in the propeller, and it's thick lines.
That's very clever. Again, to me, that's clever, being a landlubber. But that's actually, I'll add that to my weird list of shit for if the world ever goes fucking pear-shaped that Boydie needs to remember, just in case I end up on a yacht with pirates chasing me. Throw fucking rope and that in the water, because it'll float on the surface most likely and tangle up their propeller. Thank you so much, Elessar. See, folks, by watching the podcast, the spotlight interviews, you all get smarter. That is a brilliant fucking concept, mate. I've actually got goosebumps. That's thinking. Yeah, even Cobra, and Cobra's got a very interesting background as well. But even he's respecting that one. That's a 200 IQ play. I salute you for that one, my man. That's smart.
I mean, immobilize them. That was our first thing. Is okay. So the first things that we said is like, okay, we're going to call for help. So you call on the radio, VHF, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. What they do, they have a little bit modified VHF radios as well. Everybody's listening on that, and channel 16 is the normal channel that in between is the emergency channel, and everybody needs to listen to it when you're out at sea. And we would call a Mayday, but they would just then key their mic, which is stronger than your radio. They would up the wattage of that signal. Yeah. And so anybody else hears, there's no sound that's coming out. So what my saving grace was in that scenario was I had a AIS receiver on my boat. And I could see there was a ship downwind from me in the right direction. And I was like, okay, I'm turning to them because they actively was chasing us with this chase boat. But they, as I said, they were coming from the coast of Venezuela, and the sea was coming, how can I say, northeasterly, so more from the Caribbean side. Okay, although we're in the Caribbean there. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to run with this and run with the sea, go with it as fast as I can. And I saw the ship on my way, and I called up the ship and I said, motor vessel, I can't remember, let's call it motor vessel Mary Jane, just for the hell of it. This is
you just can't stop thinking about marijuana, can you, mate?
Hey, it's a saving grace in my life for many times. It changed my mind and gave me such
and the SS Mary Jane.
Yeah. And I called them up and they responded because the guys didn't click. And I said, please, can you relay my Mayday because of this and this? I'm being chased by pirates. And that's when the Trinidad Coast Guard came online and said, okay, can we contact you on the sat phone number that you provided to us? And I had a satellite phone. I still own a satellite phone. Not the SIM card anymore, but I do own the satellite phone. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, okay. they like, okay, called them, told them like, yeah, okay, these guys are there. They immediately, as soon as the Coast Guard said, okay, they sending a freighter out to us, or not a freighter, a frigate out.
Mm-hmm.
What's our position on all of this? And they're going to be contacting me. These guys disengaged. So they were listening. There's no doubt in
Wow.
my mind. What were their motives? They disengaged. And so every 15 minutes, I had to report back into the Coast Guard, or the Coast Guard. And they would then like, okay, are they still there? And I'm like, yeah, they're following us on the horizon. I can still see them. So we kept an eye on them. And this happened about 4 p.m. when it started. When sunset went, we put down all lights, everything, and we
Yeah.
changed course. And that's, as soon as that happened, they
How was your
disappeared.
crew?
They were nervous. They were not happy about the situation. I told my first mate, was a male guy. I told him like, okay, you go down there, you've got to try. And the helm was on top on the fly bridge. So, and yeah, I like, okay. And what would happen is, when the active chase was happening, is the motors would overheat. So I had to like do one and nurse the motors away from it.
Mm-hmm.
I see the question from Cobra there.
So, did you have any alien? Did you actually? That's a pretty good question, because you hear that some really weird shit happens out at sea. Did you have any weird fucking things? You're laughing.
One of my first, okay.
Oh,
okay.
he's okay. Alien being pirates. Okay, so we'll come back to that.
Okay. Okay.
First...
One of my first mates came and woke me up. And it was actually the same first mate. He came and woke me up, and he's like, Louis, come and look at these lights, and so on. And I'm like, okay, what am I looking at? And he's like, no, that was an alien spaceship going down and went into the sea, and it was under the water, under our boat. And I'm like, what did you smoke that wasn't allowed on the boat? Because we're traveling internationally, you can't have any illegal substances on board.
Yeah.
And that's one of my contracts that I've made with all of my crew members. No alcohol, no drugs of any kind, other than headache medicine or medicine that's prescribed. Nothing gets on board the boat. So I was just like totally confused. But to come back to Cobras, that first delivery back, international delivery, back to South Africa from Australia, we were in Mozambique. And if you're anchored, you're supposed to have an anchor light on. And in Africa, it's not called an anchor light. It's called the shopping light. It's like the shop is open.
Oh.
And we had that on. We thought the wind is blowing, howling bad. Nobody's going to come on. The captain, I was the first mate at that stage. The captain, like, no, didn't lock the door. So I woke up, and I had long hair when I still had hair. I had long hair. My hair was standing all over this place. And I like, who the hell is clipping or doing something in the boat so late at night? So I'm coming up, and I see, unfortunately, a guy there in the boat, and I'm like, hey! And I just screamed and I ran. And this guy ran, and I swear he like jumped off. He had the biggest fright in his life. He jumped off into the dhow, and the dhow, if you remember Asterix and Obelix, where the little boat would just go boom, 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 boom over the waves, they rode that boat like that as I was screaming at them. They stole a little camera and all of that at that stage, a digital camera. I mean,
again, you're just lucky they didn't have a weapon on them or something like that, because it could have ended up real bad.
It could have happened bad, yeah. I mean, Mozambique in general, it would be crime. It won't be attacks where they would hurt people, but they would be opportunistic and they would steal your outboards, your fuel, whatever they can to resell and use for themselves to sustain themselves. So, again, that comes back to the point where you don't want to say blame them and say that there was no ulterior motives for me, and that was pure opportunistic. They wanted to just better themselves. One of the other things they stole was a kettle without the base plate at the bottom of the kettle.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, what are they going to do? Are they going to put it on fire? It's going to melt. It's plastic bottom. It's
Got a weird question for you. I've been again. I watch so much random fucking shit, mate. I am truly autistic with my attention span. It goes from one thing to another. At the moment, there's been a spate of orca attacks on boats. Have you ever heard about that? Have you ever witnessed anything similar to it? Or I know it's particularly prevalent at the not the Guadalcanal,
it's off the
Gibraltar,
coast of Portugal and
Yep.
Spain, Gibraltar, the entrance of there.
You ever had any encounters with orcas yourself? And
yes and no. Let me explain. I didn't have an encounter where they attacked my boat. I was fortunate enough with that. In one of my deliveries, I went up through the Straits of Juan de Fuca. So that is by Canada. Trying to think what's that little island there, which is very well known for all of the orca whales and all of that. It was also where they the Free Willy movie. And I also want to know about it. And sorry, a call came in as well. But I didn't see any whale. It was full of fog and mist and everything. And then came back to South Africa, and there was killer whales. And now that's and what is
South African killer whales are badass, by the way. They kill fucking great white sharks.
Yeah, but this was at the start of this, because there was never killer whales there. We never knew about the killer whales. And on my very next delivery, as I'm leaving Cape Town, here's the killer whale surfing right next to me in the wave next to the boat.
It's one of my bucket list things is to see them in the wild, because they're absolutely beautiful, if not kind of crazily psychotic fucking. I've seen the way that they toy with their fucking prey, but they are absolutely stunningly beautiful animals. What's it like seeing one in the flesh? Because they're big.
If you think they're big, wait till you see a blue whale.
Oh, that would be another one, like largest animal that's ever lived.
I mean, I'll just quickly want to look. I see Cobra is suggesting it's the Herbies Islands. It's not that one. If I tell you, I'll just quickly get it on the straight. Vancouver Island. I went over Vancouver Island.
So I'm just laughing at chat there, making fun of Cobra with his UFO fucking conspiracy theory. Glads, get off the whole UFO shit, dude. They're not going to invade. I agree with Cobra. They may.
They may.
You don't know.
Okay, I've lost
with the South African killer whales and how it never been an issue, and then all of a sudden it started being an issue. And
so they then started, and all the great whites left. So there's almost no great whites. So people going shark diving in Cape Town and so on, you're not going to see it anymore. And where the great whites were known to jump, they don't jump anymore because they aren't there anymore. They left because the killer whales took over. And
there's always a bigger fish. There's always a bigger fish.
Yep.
G'day, Diesel. How you doing, mate? No, it's over, buddy. No one entered, so I'm going to give it away in the Discord. But yeah, how were they so impressive to see though in real life?
Yes, they were. They definitely were. I mean, it's. I just want to answer my call, which my mom trying to call me. But for me, it was impressive. I mean, the dorsal fin is quite larger than what you expect. It's plus minus 1 meter. So they were good. But I went off the coast of the Baja coast of Mexico, and I saw a blue whale there between Ensenada and up to San Diego.
Can you swim?
Yes, I swim.
Because I was just thinking then, how humbling is it when you're out at sea on this relatively tiny little boat and there's not another ship, not a bit of land in sight? Is it unnerving? Do you still get a bit of
It's
a chill from it every now and then, or you've gotten used to it now, or
no, you definitely get used to it. I'm not going to say you don't get it. Because once you're in there, I mean, okay, in the middle of the ocean, the water is clear. I mean, we're talking 20, 30 meters of
visibility?
visibility.
Yeah.
So you can really see deep into the ocean, and you see like there's nothing, and you're like, okay, you're not gonna see the shark coming up and so on if you do swim up there, because sharks are when you swim out there is your greatest fear. And but yeah, no, I mean, there was a couple of times that we like, okay, we're gonna swim, and I was off the island of St Helena, anchored off the St Helena. I don't know if you know where that is, in the middle of the
No,
Atlantic.
I just, dude, I'm getting chills because literally spiders and deep water where I can't see the bottom, preferably touch the bottom, are my fears. And jumping into the ocean just to have a swim in the middle of the fucking ocean, especially now I know about oceanic white tips. If I was on that boat with you, I'd be going, good luck, shark bait. I ain't fucking going in there. I ain't dipping a toe in that fucking ocean. You're a madman, brother. That's fucking insane.
Well, one of the oceanic white tips I saw, we were preparing to go swimming, stop the boat, because once you cross the equator, usually I stopped it you're in the doldrums, what they call, so there's no wind. And the in that doldrums, you stop and swim. And we were preparing the boat for like, okay, we're motoring, we're going to have a quick swim. And with this, the next moment, one of these sharks popped up next to the boat, and we all like, nah, we're not swimming today. So my dog is giving
Because
barks. Yeah, I don't
little
know.
known fact about oceanic white tips, what should be a well known fact, some people may know it, but a little known fact: the USS Indianapolis. They now believe that the majority of the sailors who died from the sharks, it was oceanic white tips, because when you hear people talk about the deadliest sharks in the world, most people will always go great whites, tiger sharks, bull sharks. But the one that's very hard to report on is the oceanic white tip, because so many attacks that they do happen way out in the ocean where no one fucking sees it happen, knows it happened. It's not happening off a beach or anything like that. So they actually suspect that they're possibly the deadliest shark out there, because they're just crazy fucking psycho sharks. They're like a bull shark on crack. They're angry and they're nasty. They are not a nice shark. Not that any shark. When I say that, I've got a caveat with they're just animals. They're just doing what animals do, but they have no fear of humans. They don't know that we're dangerous to them, and they being what do they call it? Pelagic? Is that when it's open ocean?
Yeah,
Not
pelagic. Yeah,
something. It's
it's
something like that.
usually
But yeah, but being ocean going, when they see something, because they don't often see something, they'll generally go it.
yeah. I mean,
Fuck,
uh,
man.
to come back to St. Helena, one of my greatest experiences diving and snorkeling, I would say, was off St. Helena. I was up the mast, and one of my crew members like, there's a dark spot in the water, and I look down from the mast, and I look, and I see it's a whale shark. So we all like dive, and it was doing like circles and around, and then coming closer and closer to the boat. And I'm like, snorkels, bring me down. Snorkels, mast fins, dive in the water, and all three of us is in there. And I'm seeing this whale shark, and I saw like, okay, he's doing circles. So I swam in front of him, got close to him, and so on. And the next moment, I hear like a big commotion behind me, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? And my crew members are just swimming, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? So now I'm looking, is there a shark that's going about? Yeah, and here comes this big manta ray, and I don't know if you know manta rays. They're
Massive.
huge.
Yeah.
They're massive, but they're so passive. I mean, they're also algae free eaters, so they're not stingrays or anything. But it was just after Steve Irwin's thing, and they would just go.
Okay, yep. I under. I was sitting there going, why would they? Oh, okay, Steve Irwin. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, no. So I went, and this manta ray just came close by and looked at me and everything with this as well. So, yeah, that's really amazing. But yeah, coming back too
A
quickly to
whale shark
Daisy.
and a manta ray in the same. That's man.
Yeah,
Like I love animals as much as I'm scared shitless of water, and I've got a very healthy respect, borderline fear of sharks. I've actually confronted that. I got to dive in a cage with a bull shark, but only at what do you call it, at SeaWorld here in Australia. So I was very, very safe. And sadly, I didn't have my PADI dive card on me at the time, so I could only do snorkel. So I had to keep it going back up again. But my God, it was so beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And yeah, it's a bull shark, and they're crazy psychos as well. But it was just so beautiful to be in the water with this. I think she was about 4 meters. She's a very big one. The one that they had there when I went there. This is back in about 2009. But to see them in the open ocean, where you've got no cage around you, my man, you're fucking mad.
yeah.
Do you ever lose any boats in your time?
No. I've
Touch wood.
been on touch wood. I've got a wooden desk, but I've been into boats where I've been in trouble. I've lost a rudder on one of the catamarans, where I had to return back to port, to Cape Town, or in Durban at that stage, which we made fun of it at that stage as well. We also made circles, because as soon as you lose one rudder, and this is the nice thing about a catamaran, and why I said there's two of everything. So we had lost the one rudder. Either hit a container or something happened underwater, and this rudder broke off.
Killer whales.
Maybe, I don't know. We were far down south, so it could have been maybe, but we didn't see any killer whales, so we can't explain it. But
it's the ones you don't
we
see
would,
that are the dangerous ones, my man.
yeah,
They're watching
that's
you.
true. And with the sails up and so on, so if a wave hits you the wrong way, you have to start the motor, do a whole 360, and then get the boat back on course, because the wave would just hit you off course.
That's insane.
And
how long have you been doing this for?
$22
Wow.
I did it for 22.
It
I'm in the
sounds like a
boating
dream job.
industry.
It sounds like a dream job, but a lot of jobs sound like a dream job. In your 22-year experience, is it a dream job?
There's some really amazing things that's out there. But yeah, the scary moments is really, 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 really scary. And
But
as a
those
captain,
things also help you. As weird as this may sound to some people, but those sort of moments help you appreciate life all the more, don't they?
yes, they do.
They
Look,
remind you that you're alive, and that adrenaline that goes through you it's you kind of, as crazy as some of these adrenaline junkies are, you kind of understand why they get a thrill from it, because it's a bit of a high, isn't it, when you get those adrenaline rushes?
no, okay. This is the one thing that I had a conversation with one of my friends years ago. The adrenaline rush comes in with the quick fix, the brush with death. There's a specific word for it, though. But then you go into a survival situation where you got to keep the shit together. And sorry if I'm swearing with it.
No,
that's what happens. And as a captain, you got to be the greatest actor in the world. Yeah, no, I've seen bigger waves. We can go through this, no problem. The boat is strong. Blah. We're gonna make it. Meantime, back in your mind, you're like, oh my god, if we last another 10 minutes, we're lucky. If we last another hour, it's lucky.
that's a sign of a good leader, though. You've got to remain strong when adversity is there, because the people below you, they look up to you. And if you're a fucking shit show, and there's so many examples of that throughout history, where you can see, there's that terrible ferry disaster off the coast of Korea, where the captain there, I think he ended up getting had to go to court or something, or got put in jail. But he was a terrible leader. And because of that, so many people died. But if you can keep your shit together, the people below you will be, well, if he's not worried, he's experienced, he knows. You might be lying, but you've got to keep everyone on their toes, so to give yourselves the best possible chance. Because if everyone goes into flight mode, you're fucked.
Exactly. I mean, this is what it sounds contrary to what everybody thinks it is. But when you are out on a boat, I mean, I've worked, and generally we were only 3 people on board. I told them, if you fall overboard in a storm, the boat comes first. We might not be able to save you, and you must understand that. And if I fall overboard, the boat comes first. The boat needs to survive, because that will mean that the other 2 will survive.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So no,
there's different rules. There's different rules. Like at its face value, that sounds contrary to
I mean,
but it makes complete sense when that is your greatest survival tool, is the boat. So of course you get to put, if I can say the boat and keep the rest of us alive, I'm sorry, but you are the weakest link. I know that sounds heartless, but I understand where you're coming from, brother. I do.
I mean, God forbid that I would ever have to tell mother that I've lost her son or daughter because I couldn't turn back, because we all would have died. And it's difficult, especially when you have been in the military, where no man be left behind. So it makes it, you've got to think about it. That's
a bit of a misnomer as well. In that there are plenty of examples of, everyone hears that and they think we're going to fight for the last man. No, you're not. But you got to go back and you got to get that guy out however you can, whether they're alive or dead. But
you might not be able to do it right there and then. You might have to go back to base to recuperate and so on. And that's the way that we have to face it,
to fight another day
as well. Yeah. So, I mean, unfortunately, have lost one of my friends on a boat out at sea as well into a big major storm, and he was actually the captain that did the delivery. He did it for over about 40 years and so on as well. So it is it's a really sad thing that it's a dangerous job, but in the same sense of thing that yes, things could go haywire totally, it's also one of the safest jobs that you can do.
There's always a worse job out there.
Yeah.
Clearing minefields is one that I always look at and go, Jesus. But those people you speak to, and they'll probably say that someone else, window washers have a more dangerous job or something like that on high-rise buildings and that. It's just like, again, it comes down to, like, if someone was to ask me to sail a yacht across the world for them, it's going to be a deadly job because I don't know the first thing. But you, 22 years in the industry, for you, it's another job. I'm going to do it. There's inherent risks in everything. Whether you're working in retail, you could have some crazy psycho come in to try to rob you and kill you or whatever. You just don't know. But the more you know, the more you can be. Forewarned is forearmed, they say. It just, I don't know. Did we get an answer to, is it a dream job?
Yes, it is. I'm not going to say it's not, but it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody, and it's not. You've got to be comfortable with yourself. Yes. It's very.
Did you do it out at sea?
No. What happened is we got engine problems, and we stopped at Ascension Island, which is also in the middle of the Atlantic, but that's a very, very odd island in its own right, because you have the US military base, you have a French military base, and the UK military base, and they all have their own electrical power systems for the island. And one of the things we were...
I can hear you. I've just got to go to the toilet. I'll be back in a sec.
No problem. And so what we needed to do is stay there, and we were invited by the military to come and drink at the pub and all of that. And they were like, and he would keep on asking questions the whole time, and they were told, no, we can't answer you those questions. So at the end, the immigration had to ask me that we get rid of him, and our boat couldn't go, so we had to fly him through on a military plane out of Ascension into the UK, get special permission to get him all the way back to South Africa. And Diesel, I agree. Happy Father's Day to everybody, to all the fathers out there. May that be a good thing for all of you guys. But so Bodie, one thing I want to say about Daisy coming back.
That was where I was going next, is how does Daisy fit into your life? Like you said, you use it to escape reality, like a lot of us do. Gaming is our thing, and we just do it so we can switch off. How does Daisy fit into all of this for you?
Okay, firstly off, let me say, I firstly wanted to say and give the developers an open invitation to take them out for 5-6 days into the middle of the ocean on a full moon and a no moon night, and preferably calm waters and so on, away from light pollution. Because
can someone clip this? So can someone clip this for me, send it to me, and I will send this to Scotty so that he gets this invitation directly, because I think that would be cool as fuck.
No, because the reason why I'm saying this, when you have a cloudless night, and you just have stars. I can see my own shadow on the boats just from the stars. So that for me is like the night is way too dark for a place that has no light pollution in Daisy. So that's the one thing I would say that's unrealistic for me, because I've been out there. Yes, when it's cloudy, it's dark as shit. You can't see your hand in front of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But when there's no when the stars are there, you can actually see your shadow out there. It's quite
How would you do
tremendous.
something like that though? Take them on a 6-day cruise?
Take them 3 days out, so it's about 300, 400 nautical
Mm-hmm.
miles away, and then come back. Or maybe, I'm trying to think of a place where one could maybe the Gulf of Mexico, or Gulf of America now, do something again, do a
What about the
crossing of that.
Mediterranean? Is it possible to do that in there?
Yeah, the problem in the Mediterranean is you've got a lot of light pollution.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean,
Probably
I'll
pretty
skip.
busy in there as well, I imagine. A lot of traffic.
Yeah, a lot of traffic in the Mediterranean and a lot of fishing boats. So you don't get no no boats out there in the ocean, no lights. Because if you have no light pollution, man, you'll be amazed, as I say, how much light the stars actually give you. And even if you don't have perfect vision, you'll see your own shadow.
Okay. So you're coming into a really good point here, which is a great topic now that we've started talking about Daisy and the night times in Daisy. And I've been myself in situations, where there's no natural light, and you're just being illuminated. And like you said, on those full moon lights, it's it's not that dark. You can see quite clearly. You can see quite a distance and see, yes, it's all black and white vision because there's no light to give colors the vibrancy they need in that. Smarter people could probably explain that better, but you can still see. But then on other nights where there is cloud cover, and I've never been out in the ocean like that, but I've been in the jungle where no light gets in under the canopy. And it's like you said, you can wave your hand in front of your head and you don't see nothing. That must be unnerving as fuck out of the ocean. Like I was unnerved enough in the jungle doing that. In the ocean with the sound of the ocean and not being able to see it. Whoa. Goosebumps.
I mean, your first night out in the middle of the ocean is your scariest night ever. And the first thing when you're out on a boat, we don't have headlights like a car. So we
Yeah.
have, if you're sailing, you have a little green light that's starboard, which is only seen for 2 nautical miles, and a red light, which is your port light, and then your white stern light. And they only see for 2 nautical miles, which is, in my opinion, crazy that that's the international regulations that it needs to be seen. Taking that ships can travel, the big
How long would it
ships.
take 2 ships going head on average to reach each other in that distance?
A ship can travel at 20 knots, which is 20 nautical miles per hour. So if you guys are going head to head, you can, within, I would say, 10 to 15 minutes, you can have a crash.
And you have to see
And
each other at the maximum distance. Every second after that, you're getting closer and closer. And
but here's the whole crux of the matter. Some of these container ships that's going at 16 to 20 knots, they're a bridge. If I
is
explain it this way,
at
the
the
bridge
back.
is here, and then the containers is here.
Yeah.
Their blind spot is almost 2 nautical miles.
Yeah.
So they're not going to see you. So
It's kind of incumbent on you to be more aware and get out of the fuck of their way, isn't it?
Yeah.
And pray to God they don't turn.
This is the thing. AIS, in my opinion, automatic identification systems, is amazing. Radar, forget about it. It's not as effective as what people think it is. Wood and fiberglass doesn't get picked up as well as people think. But these ships, yeah, there's a saying in the navigation rules and so on. You have a standoff and a stand-on vessel. So, but a lot of people say who's, and the books questions ask you who has right of way in boating, and we always say once you're more knowledgeable, there is no ultimate right of way. If you see a collision, and this is part of the international organization, IMO's coal regs, that you need to avoid the collision at all costs. Even if you're the stand-on vessel or not the vessel that's not to give away, you have to avoid the collision. So yeah, and Might is right. A bigger boat, you just get out of its way. Don't just stay there. Get out of their way. But to come back to Daisy, to your question regarding how does Daisy fit into this? So, it's a long story how I got to Daisy, but Daisy for me brings me back to the state of survival. And it's one of the only games in the world that I think can give you that fear and lust of you're going to lose everything if you go. If you die, you lose everything. There is no respawn quickly with it and so on. Now, I come from generally an Arma background. I've had Arma 2. I think I played something like maybe 6,000 hours on Arma 2.
Wow.
I use gaming as an escape, especially when I was doing the deliveries, which I'm not doing anymore. When I would come back and I would be on land, life is just too weird for you when you come back to land. It's like everybody's rushing for what reason? Out at sea, everything happens slowly. And so I would play games just to escape the reality and break my mind of normal things. And then I moved on to Arma 3, and I think I've got something like 4,000 hours on that. And yeah, then I came into Daisy, and one of my friends introduced it to me when it was still the mod on Arma 2. And I was like, no, I'll keep on with my military games, because I grew up and wanted to be a military infantry or in the military at that stage. And then Daisy came out, and a couple of years ago, I started seeing videos from Anarchy, because I had a big hatred for cheaters and and I'm like, oh, well, this looks good. And then I just found one channel after the next channel of guys streaming it, and I'm like, okay, this is a game that I really should look into. And when I got playing with it, I was hooked. And it's really nice when you have that the PVE aspect of the game, but the risk of PvP as well.
It's what makes it great. It's even though I'm not playing much DayZ at the moment, I'm playing Rust, but I've actually just switched over to starting to try PvP servers, and it's so much more enjoyable. I did the PvE to learn the game, to learn the mechanics, because it's a lot more in depth than I thought. But now that I'm still playing the same way, friendly trader, yes, I'm doing my trader shit again. But it's that threat of someone killing you when you're just doing something totally random, like I might be running to try to recycle something or just do some farming or whatever, and knowing that someone might want to kill me, it's an adrenaline rush, isn't it, mate?
It's
Without the
definitely
fear of like what we were talking
actually,
about before, of actually dying.
yeah. I mean, this is the thing, that this is the closest of somebody. I mean, I was in a situation where I had friendly forces shooting from behind me, and somebody in a vehicle in a roadblock shooting in uh, from a vehicle back towards me, and my guy shooting over across me. And as soon as you have that adrenaline rush, yeah, you get hooked onto it. So, and Daisy, I feel, is one of the few games that actually have that adrenaline rush fear of it. But I mean, I also can say in the beginning, it's like, oh, am I going to survive? Am I going to survive? And then you get to like, okay, I'm going to survive. I'm going to get all the gear. I have enough knowledge. Then you get gear fear. And then after you play, after a certain amount of hours, I would say between 1,000 to 2,000 hours, you're like, well, it wasn't my gear to start off with. So
I just tagged you, Patty, in a channel in the Discord. She did clip your invitation, mate. So I'll get that clip and I'll send it through to Scotty. And hey, that'd be an awesome little getaway for them. I know they like to do their team building exercises and that. They can put their heads in a crazy South African who likes to smoke the reefer out at sea for 6 days. We'll see who snaps first. I reckon Scotty would just go full feral, but yeah, I could see Dance to Jesus going full feral too.
yeah, I don't smoke. I mean, in Thailand, when I moved here,
I know.
it was totally illegal. So at that stage, I stopped. But
so what made you move to Thailand?
So what happened is I was working in Cape Town, and basically where there was from the shipyard. I was receiving the yachts out of the shipyard because I was technical and I would write technical reports as a captain. So the company realized, like, okay, I'm a technical guy. And I got fed up with working in that environment and I wanted to leave. And the company's like, well, can you just come and help us out quickly here in Thailand for 1 month? We've got this charter base that we need to help. And I'm like, well, okay, yeah. And I got here, worked for the month. Uh, the then base manager for the charter base asked me, like, oh, please, will you stay and will you work as the assistant base manager and the technical manager? And I would do the technical stuff and get the engineers to do follow up that the boats are get prepared and fixed and all of that stuff, because it wasn't a bit of a shambles at that stage. But yeah, so that the opportunity just came over. And obviously, with the situation in South Africa, with me being the color that I am, and sorry to say it that way, it was just the best opportunity. And after people waking up twice with somebody standing next to my bed, stealing stuff from me, yeah. And with my history of seeing stuff, that what happens to people or what can happen to people, I just couldn't sleep anymore in South Africa. My wife said I went from somebody that would be totally dead to the world when sleeping to totally awake if there's like a pin drop. And this is the other thing that's on the ocean. My wife says she doesn't know how I sleep because I would feel the rhythm of the boat. And she did a couple of deliveries with me as well. And if the winds on the change, the wave pattern changes. So
You wake up.
I wake up and I'm like, okay, what's going on? Is it still okay? Well, we still on course? Is changes or so on? And yeah, I mean, I'm one of the few captains that delivered power cats and sailboats around the world. So, and I've specifically for this company, I've actually done a circumnavigation broken up into different legs on their boats, which not a lot of people can say. So I've crossed the Indian of the Pacific and the Atlantic the most of all.
What's it like playing Daisy in Thailand? Do you ever get on the
That's
Thai
in.
servers?
I try to. There is no actually Thai service, but there is
Oh,
Singaporean servers.
yep. Yeah, I played on Singaporean ones before.
But okay, I'm sure you know of the hackers on the Singaporean
Yeah.
servers are sometimes
Yeah.
bad. So, and that's just how I got introduced to your show. I mean, I went from place to place. Which service do you guys play? Where do you play? I mean, I love the vanilla version of Daisy. I'm not going to take that away.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, I got to FT, and FT was the only person that ever said, "Get hold of Boydie, ask him." And I think it was one of your first shows that I got to watch when you did that was still with Cobra, Devil, and Alex, and so on. And you're like, "No, try the Australian service." And I think you said Sergeant Peppers as well at that stage.
Mm-hmm.
So, but FT suggested speak to you because
FT is such a fucking good guy. I've got nothing but love and respect for that guy. Yeah, he deserves to be way bigger than he is. He really fucking does. He's just a solid, and he's got a cheeky sense of humor as well. Have you ever seen the clip of him with the banana and the goat?
Yes, I have.
Oh, that is the funniest. And that random guy just walks up and is like, "Wait, nothing to see here." And the guy's just like, "Yeah, okay," and just walks away. It's like, oh my God, only FT.
No.
But
No,
he's
I mean,
a classic example of why Daisy appeals to older people like you and I, that we don't have the fast motor reflexes. I still button mash and things like that when I panic and things like that in game, and I end up with the fucking Windows menu open and do you really want to exit? No, I don't want to exit the game. I want to get my gun out. What are you doing to me? But you can still do well in Daisy if you've got brain power.
yeah.
It's not all about like in a CSGO style game where, pretty much once you have a few pubic hairs sprouting out of you, you pass your prime. You need to have those laser fast reflexes that only young people have. Whereas Daisy, yeah, it helps if you've got those laser fast reflexes. You've only got to look at the likes of a Smoke or Toprek and that to see what they can do in PvP. But a smart player can outdo a young, dumb idiot easily. It allows, Armor's the same. It allows for those tactics because they might be able to get more shots to land if they put full spray AK at you because they know how to mouse control and all the rest of it. But if you're a smart old guy and you can get off a couple of well-aimed shots, you can drop that guy and it's over. It's not a case of he's gonna heal up and all the rest of it. No, you hit him, he stays hurt. That's the beauty of a game like DayZ, isn't it, Elessar?
Yeah, no, that is. I mean, one of my I'm trying to think now what was the game mode in Arma, and the Warsome Vets is the group that started it. But what it was is you had to build up points and to buy your vehicles and all of that, similar to what DayZ was. And I love that mode because you could get anything you want if you get enough kills. And yes, there was a PvE play, so where you would play against AI, and then get that. And I came from a CS:GO period as well, and then
Were you any good at it?
to art. I was okay. I'm not going to say I'm great.
Okay, for the CSGO nerds, I've never played it. What was your ranking or something? Isn't there some sort of ranking, gold, silver, platinum, pink, rainbow, or whatever? I don't know.
You get bronze, silver, then gold, and then golden eagle or something like that. I can't remember. But I was a silver player at that stage, and I was at the top end of it. And it just...
I don't know if that's good, but people in chat, you could let me know if that's good or not. But
I won't say it's...
it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad, eh? We'll say that.
Yeah, I enjoyed the games I could play in. I could playing some of the league games. The guys were happy with me playing it and everything, and being teammates and so on. And then you get the shouter out there, and it would shout at you. But the older I got, the more I realized, okay, my reflexes is way down. So then you try to start to play more strategic, and it's just not a game for you or
No.
somebody to play strategic. So
You can
that's
know
I
the
went back.
tactics, you can know the maps and all the rest of it, but the other guy is going to know the same as well. And if he's got the faster reflexes, it's just not a game that allows for any errors.
Yeah, I mean, that's where you would know how to throw your smokes. All of your smokes would be so tremendously helpful, and how to get it wherever, and how to corner off an area, and where to stand in places that people won't expect. Because this is the thing, people are very much people of habit. And yeah,
Look
if
at
you
DayZ, mate.
throw
We've
that,
all got our loot routes we love.
oh yeah. And this is the one thing I love about DayZ is I know if I shoot off a shot, the people are gonna push me, and then I play against. I use that against them. So I reposition and then wait for them to come into my kill zone. So use what
They're all like, again, playing Rust has been eye-opening for me because I don't like playing the DayZ servers with the global chat, but the vanilla server I'm playing in Rust has it. The amount of people who come in there and just type, where's all the PvP at? And you know that even in DayZ, there's a lot of people who are just looking for the PvP. And it's like the dinner bell, isn't it? You fire off a shot and they're all going to come running. And being a smarter guy, you can, if you can, you're choosing the ground of the engagement, so you've got the advantage over them already. And the experience, you know where they're most likely going to come from. If I was the one coming in here, so you could use it all against them, and unless there's some sort of freak or they're cheating, they're at a disadvantage where they go running straight to shots, just a random bait shot. You're an idiot if you run to a bait shot. A good bait shot is when you've got two guns and you make it seem like it was a firefight. Because then they really are coming in there not thinking, oh, one shot, yeah, that's probably bait. Oh, that was an SKS and then a shotgun. Oh, someone died there. We'll be able to third party him. And yeah, no, you've just been debated big time, brother.
What I usually do is I don't like bait shots. What I do is I would shoot at a guy, but on purpose miss him, and know that he would come then, because now I shot at him and he feels like, I need to go get him. And then they will come for me.
Do you like FT's tactics? It's one of the things I love about FT. The fact that he's got an emote with the FT flank, and FT Fort, which I know is that little place in Novi Sabor, Novi Sabor, that little concrete square there that he just loves to sit in. And they call that the FT Fort. But his flanks are fucking god tier, aren't they?
Yes, no,
I've tried it myself. It never works out. He's got some sort of ESP sixth sense, man, where he just knows. But that's just experience in the game. That's not me saying he's cheating or anything like that. He knows the game and he knows the map, Chernarus especially, and he knows that it's happened here. If I run around, and he'll run for 5 to 10 minutes, and more often than not, he'll find them and he'll be behind them. He's just god tier with his tactics.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I've learned from FT is being patient. I mean, don't rush the situation. I mean, that's the guy that he plays with these days, Toby. He's a little bit more impatient, and I love Toby as well. And he's
such
like
a good combo,
push. I love when FT and Toby play the banter between them. And even if FT plays with his mod Molly, and
Molly's a good egg as well.
The banter between them, I sometimes lay here in laughter, sitting here listening to what's going on.
I just shared FT's channel in chat there, folks. Let me make sure that was on all. If you've never watched him, I highly recommend you go watch him. It's a great environment. It's nice and chill, pretty relaxed, and he's got a great sense of humor. He also allows for scare donations. So if you time it right, you can give the old bastard the fright of his life and that. But he's just a good egg. And you look at the people around him, and Molly and Toby in particular. Does he still have? Who's the guy in chat? I can't remember his name. You'll know it though. The one Magoo, is it, who just sees everything, and he's always in his chat going, "Oh, there was a guy up on the hill there," and he's just
not Magoo, because it's Molly Magoo.
no, that's right, yeah. But you know who
Yeah,
I'm talking about, don't you?
yes. God, they're tomorrow gonna rip me another one when they see this video, and they say,
Because they've got a command for it when he does his thing. He just sees everything watching the stream.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen like every time this guy has also like looked at it and so on. And I'm trying to think, but there's a couple of regulars that's in his stream, especially on Twitch, and I love his Twitch stream, and I prefer Twitch, to be honest, more than that. I mean, I think I'm one of the few people, I love playing the game, and I love watching people play the game as well. I mean,
what's your favorite preferred styles of streams to watch?
I mean, FD's stream, but also definitely the deal stream thing that he's got, where he's got somebody else to banter with
Yep.
as well. There's just that golden moments that just like, oh my God, did you really just say that? And it's like, yeah, it's gold. But I also want to just come back on FT and pay huge respect down to him. He, since the thing that happened to my wife, he for over a week shared the link every day in his stream. And yeah, I've got so much massive respect for him. And yeah, I really do. He's got a heart of gold. He's part of what makes Daisy great, in my opinion.
I just sent FTA Twitter DM. I know he doesn't check it that often, but who's the dude in the great something? It's on the tip of my tongue. The one who sees everything. It's fucking annoying me. I'm not going to be able to get it out of my head now.
I want to say Bongo, but it's not Bongo. It's sure.
But yeah, it's like
yeah, I know exactly which person you're talking and referring to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's something like Magoo, Bongo, Mongo. We're wasting time. But yeah,
definitely, and it's getting late for you as well. There,
he's such a good guy though, and like I was getting at before, he still plays with those same people from back in the day. Doesn't play with the Running Man anymore. That's kind of sad. And Renee's kind of retired from the game because those three were an iconic trio back in the day. It's sad that they don't play together anymore because the banter between the three of them was fucking god tier. They were the holy trinity of DayZ back in the day. You should go and watch some of their videos. It was always awesome when all three of them would upload a video about the same encounter and you got to see it from three different perspectives. One infamous instance where they were at the castle near Mogadishu. Not Mogadishu, fucking flashbacks, Mogalevka.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I can't believe I just said that. People are going to fucking laugh their asses off. Boyd, you're having a flashback to Somalia, calling Mogalevka Mogadishu. But they were overlooking that little town just to the north of it. And there was a guy there, and the banter between them about whether they should kill him or not. And FT was definitely leaning towards killing him. Running Man was kind of in his camp. Renee, being the nice guy he was, ran down to talk to him. the guy who they were looking to kill was Brian Hicks.
Okay.
And Renee's basically telling him, you need to run, those other two want to kill you. And yeah, it was one of the funniest clips ever. They wanted to kill the lead dev of DayZ at the time. So just fucking comedy gold, mate. It was absolute comedy gold.
Okay.
But yeah.
I definitely need to go back and look for it.
Some really nice stuff.
This is the thing. Sometimes FT, especially if he sees it's a freshie and so on, or somebody that he could immediately kill and so on, he doesn't kill it anymore.
Yeah.
He sometimes just makes it this whole big story about what this guy is going on and why he's here and all of that. And it's like, man, I just love his streams. It's really entertaining for me. It's very relaxed. I mean,
do you hang around at the end to watch him play weird ass card games?
He doesn't do that anymore.
Oh, he stopped doing that.
No,
he used to play some like Magic the Gathering game or something at the end of his streams just to de-stress for a while.
Oh, okay. No, he doesn't do that anymore.
No.
I mean, what he would do, I see him sometimes now is, especially if he's gone almost a whole stream where, I mean, DayZ is DayZ. Some days you have, how can I say, no kills for hours, and he would come in and then just go for these what's his PvP service, deathmatch service. He would go do that for a little bit, just for entertainment.
Matt Z in chat there. Very sad hearing about your son, Matt Z. That's terrible, mate. And yeah, if you didn't know, his son died in a bike accident just over a month ago. Yeah, mate, it's as you and I are both living testament to. And like you said, life can be fucking cruel at times, man. You know, your wife having the double stroke, mine having her double cardiac arrest, Matt Z losing his son. It's just a fucking crazy world, man. And you know, yeah.
The best thing I can tell everybody is hug your partner.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know how long it's
hug your friends, hug your families, tell people you love them. You know, and try to be a good cunt. Don't be a bad cunt. Try to be a good cunt. Spread some positivity in the world. That's what I try to do as much as possible. I know I'm a shit stirrer and git at times, but it comes from a place of love. If I could be bothered to take the piss out of you, it means I love you.
And Woody, I love you. I mean, I remember.
I love you, my man. For those who don't know, this guy has helped me in a way that at the moment I've got one goal in life and I've taken it to the next level. And okay, that's a bullshit thing to say. I've got a lot of goals in life, but one that I'm trying to do at the moment is to get my wife the complete Paonia Blush Wedgwood dinner set. And it's not a full dinner set. It's just like it's a very particular type of Wedgwood. Is it porcelain? Porcelain?
I think that's porcelain. Yes.
Yeah. And it's not made anymore. It's discontinued, but it's very beautiful. It's like a tropical sort of theme, and it's proving fucking hard. But I kind of lucked onto something in that King Alex introduced me properly to Elessar. And said, you really need to talk to this guy. He's got a great story. And I'm so glad he did, because we got talking. He told me he lived in Thailand. I assumed he was a pedophile like Elon Musk did about that.
Wow.
See, this is what I like about you, Elessar. This is what I like about you, mate. I can say the stupid jokes and I know you're going to get them because you got a crazy fucked up sense of humor like me. Elon's saying that shit, man, about that guy just trying to help the fucking kids trapped in the cave. Fuck me, bro. You need a filter. But no, I didn't. I just figured you were living there. And then you explained, you do yachts and all the rest of it. You're there with your wife and your kids and all the rest of it. And it was like, And then one day when I was searching for this Wedgwood Paonia Blush, I found a Wedgwood store in Hong Kong. and it had some of the items that I'm chasing. I'm down to 2 items left now: coffee mugs and ice cream bowls, and they're proving really hard to find. But I was like, "Fuck, we're okay. Let's get in there." Shipping. Oh no, it only ships to these places. One of them is Thailand. Hang about. Didn't Elessar say he lives in Thailand? And I think I'd only been talking to you for about a month or so at that time. But I'd got a pretty good feel for you that you were a decent bloke. And I sent you a message. You just saying, mate, would you mind if I ordered some Wedgwood? And it was this beautiful glass teapot with a little lid on top. And you put the tea in it and it infuses and all the rest of it. Would you mind if I got it shipped to you and then you ship it on to me? And he just said, yes, of course I would. I would love to help you, boy. And he did. And yeah, it wasn't a cheap item either. It was like, probably in UK money, about 150, 200 quid. In Aussie money, it's about $350 on that. And I put my trust in this guy. And this guy was honored that I chose to ask him. And he's just done it again for me as well. A sandwich platter in the same collection. And this is the beauty of gaming, and why, as much as everyone tries to say that gaming is bad and all the rest of it, it's not. It's like everything. It's like Elessar's favorite thing, marijuana. I'm never going to let you live that down.
Never.
Everything in small doses is okay, but when it becomes an addiction, it's bad. And gaming's the same. If you get addicted to it, it's bad. I saw a famous quote from Joe Rogan about it. He doesn't do it anymore. He got addicted to it. Okay, Joe, you did the right thing then. You backed away from it. If it becomes an addiction for you, you need to step away. But otherwise, it's just something fun. It's, so many people forget that why we game is to relax and have fun. And if you're not enjoying it, don't do it. Game for fun,
agree.
people.
I mean, as I say, I used Daisy as escape earlier.
Yeah.
But
same.
If it's not fun, I stop. I mean, that's one of the things.
Don't become a hater either, hey?
Oh no. I mean, if somebody else is having fun, well, who are you to hate them for having fun? And that's one of the reasons why I don't build bases anymore in Daisy, especially not in vanilla.
It's too fucking heartbreaking, isn't it?
It's like I've just fixed it. And then the next 2 days later, you come there and it's all gone. And it's like, okay, this is not fun anymore after 3 weeks of every day coming and repairing the base.
So hard base building in Daisy, my man. It is so it truly breaks your heart when you lose. It could take days to build something if you're not on an easy server. But having to chop and then resharpen everything and find all the nails, and then just for a couple of code locks, and someone gets an AK with a drum mag and they busted through fucking everything in 5 minutes, and you spent 5 days building it. It's kind of heartbreaking, isn't it?
Yeah. No, and I play generally vanilla servers, so like pure original servers. So you come back and you're like, oh God, this is taking me so long. The code locks and no, it's just like, and now I find pleasure in, like, I have a couple of places where I put a stash down. And I'll go to my stash and go get what I need. And if somebody finds my stash, so be it. Hope they have fun with whatever they took.
Yeah.
So, and I'll find another place where they can't. And so far, I've got to admit, I mean, I don't show it online when I do play online. But yeah, not many of my stashes have been found. And it's so much more enjoyable if I do it that way.
My man, I think we've got to call it quits here. We're coming up on 3 hours. This is about the average ending time. I just want to say it's been an honor to be able to do my little part in helping raise money for your partner in spreading awareness to help cover the medical bills. These sorts of things that you just can't prepare for. And as we know, medical bills are fucking expensive for those who live in countries where they don't have a great social safety network like we have here in Australia. That was one of the blessings that my partner and I had, mate, was after they finally said that she could go, We were in the cardiac ward at the local hospital here, and the nurses said, "Okay, and the doctor said, "Okay, you're good to go." And I was like, "So do we go down to reception to sort everything out?" And they're like, "No, you can just go." And we were like,
Wow.
and this is living in Australia, and I know that we've got it. I didn't realize it was that fucking good, because like she had surgery, she had scans, fucking everything was in there for nearly a week. Ambulance trips between hospitals to move her around. You know, this one of the state's leading cardiologists working on her, and we didn't pay a cent, mate. Yes, we paid in taxes and all the rest of it, but that's the way a good healthcare system. And I know this is kind of going off onto a bit of a side thing here, but I'm pretty sure even you, with your in your position now, would agree that's what we should be aiming for everyone in the world to be able to have, is a healthcare system that, in the case of an emergency, I'm not talking about optional, fucking cosmetic sort of. No, when I say cosmetic, I don't just mean that, but stuff that isn't life saving. But when someone has a life saving emergency, like your wife had, like my wife had, that they shouldn't need to worry about accessible healthcare. There you go. Someone smarter in chat gave it. You shouldn't you should not be going to hospital worried, is this going to kill us? Is this going to kill us financially? And that is fucking wrong. And the fact that all over the world, there's people like you and your wife who are having to raise money to try to make sure that you don't end up fucking financially destitute because of a medical emergency, is a blight on humanity as a whole, in my opinion. And anyone who can't agree with that, and this is coming from me, one of the most heartless motherfuckers in the world. I really have a low empathy meter, but that is just fucking wrong. Funk Pedal knows it as well. She just recently had her own medical issues and that. And, because what people don't realize is that, as great as it is here in Australia, whilst you might not have to worry about the medical, there's also the stuff about just not being able to work as well, isn't there, mate? It's so much more than just the medical bill. So the reason I'm saying this is I've been sharing the link in chat, but if you've got a few dollars spare, please consider. I'll bring it up again. I've got the page open. Please consider if you can spare $5, $10, whatever you can spare.
Even one helps. I mean, $1 is 35 Thai baht. £1 is about 45 or something like that. Every single bit helps at the moment. And just to recap, we're still a little ways off on getting that and to getting her into the full recovery until we can get the other part, the Social Security, sorted out, which is only going to be in 4 months' time. So, we've got to get her into recovery, and now also further treatments, whatever treatments is going to look like. I can't 100% say how it's going to look like, and that's up to see.
Yeah, I've been saving this for the end. It's not much, but I'm just going to put in another 50 quid, mate, because I didn't have to purchase anything for the stream or anything like that, like I was planning on. So I've got it spare, and I've been keeping it aside. Let me just do
thank
the
you.
Authy.
No, man. You've already donated.
Yeah, I did that initially, but I wanted to do another one as well, because there's nothing worse than seeing someone do a fundraiser and they don't fucking donate themselves.
Thank you. It's appreciated. And while we're on the topic, please, anybody that knows me and seen me in their streams, don't take offense if I at this moment can't subscribe to your or be a members of YouTube groups or things like that. I will follow, but I can't be a subscriber. Thank you so much, Matt.
Once that clears as well, I'll send that over to him as well, Matty. But yeah, I've shared the link in the chat so you can donate directly to him. rather than going through me, because again, that's another thing I don't like is when people say, "Oh yeah, you can trust me. I'll send the money on." Yeah, nah. Just give me a direct link where I can support the person. But yeah, my man, I hope you get more love on this. I know you've got the other one, the Weeboo, I think it was called, the Thai-based
Reburn.
one. How's that
Yeah.
one been going?
At this moment, we are at 126,000, which is we're looking for trying to get to up to 500. So we're a quarter of the way
That's
there.
in Thai baht as well, folks. He's not talking about
Yeah.
126,000 US
No,
dollar
no, no.
dues or something.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So as I say, one US dollar is about 35 Thai baht. So it is. I haven't worked it out how much it is. I think in pounds it worked out to, or euros, it's about 8,000 euros that we need to get in. We've covered almost all of the initial surgery at this moment, and this is with all the private donations that I've got, like from you as well, that got directly from me, and then also into through both GoFundMe and to the WeBurn, because WeBurn is the one that I can pay directly into my account. GoFundMe was a problem with, like, Australia and USA can't struggle apparently, and so I've got a friend that's you guys will see it says Ethel Grant, and she's a friend of mine, and my hat's off to her as well. She's an integrative cancer coach, so she's helping me to understand what's the further treatment as well going on to that. What is the options that we have, and what meals, and what's the best treatment going forward. And I want to say, Boydie, thank you for what you do for the Daisy community and for being such a great, awesome person that you are. I know there might be one or two crazy people out there, but man, I remember religiously I set my phone for 3 o'clock in the morning, standing up so that I can watch the show that you produced. And
I appreciate that, mate.
And
I do.
Thanks for welcoming me into the community as well. So you're a good lad.
Everyone's welcome, mate. Even if you hate me, you're still welcome, because because this is just a community of people who love the game. And again, kind of going back to what we talked about, if you haven't seen the full episode, those of you who've just joined, I highly recommend you do, because the shit leading up to the conversation we're having now, the life that Elessar has had, the upbringing he had, is truly fucking insane. But just because we don't agree on one thing doesn't mean we have to hate someone. Unless that person's actively wanting to kill you pretty much as a person or harm you directly, as long as it's not, some of the big major things, pedophiles and rapists, murderers, those sorts of really heinous things, we've all got way more in common than we don't have.
Yeah. And this is the one thing that I've always said. Everybody's blood is red. If you're rich or poor, your shit stinks. So it doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, black, white, pink, yellow, purple, whatever. We're all human beings.
All bleed red. All of our shit stinks. And yeah.
We all, in the end, earthlings, if we want to call it that way. And we must stand united as that and work to a better goal.
He used the term earthlings. He has been boarded by aliens out at sea.
No, you don't want to know what the aliens did to me.
I've seen South Park, mate. I know what happened to you.
No.
Anal probes.
Even close. No, anal probes is the nice part of it.
It takes some people a while to warm up, but we got you there in the end, Elessar. You're truly one of us. One of us.
I'm glad to be one of you guys, and thank you for everything, man. I really appreciate it.
Oh, well, all the best, my man. And I will let you know if I hear back from Scotty. We've sent him the clip of the offer to take him out on a. I reckon someone would be absolutely shitting themselves. If this happens, it's got to be filmed. I want to see them fucking go and stir crazy on the fucking boat, and you just go, "Why did I agree to do this?"
I mean, where I am now, there's nothing to worry about. But I definitely would love to take them into the middle of the ocean where there's no ocean or no light pollution. That's my biggest
Yeah.
thing. And if I can, I know South Africa is a dangerous country. There's a place in South Africa off the Gullis, and if you time the weather right, you can see the bioluminescence. And this is one of the
Ooh.
most amazing sights that I've seen, and no movie can come close to this. And I did all kinds of weird and funny stuff and so on. And if you want to see something really, really trippy, it's being bioluminescence. I was in a flat water, like was mirror flat, so the stars were reflecting. It was like we're going through space, and dolphins swimming next to us, and you could see the whole dolphin in the bioluminescence. And when it jumps out of the water, the dolphin disappears into the blackness. And then once it's back into the water, you just see this real big glow. It's, yeah. And the engines just leave this two trails of bioluminescence behind it. It's, yeah. That's one of the most trippiest stuff ever, and I wasn't on anything.
My man, I hope things pick up. Much love to the missus and to the young fella. Let him know that there's a bunch of weirdos from all around the world who are really feeling for him right now. You know, no kid should have to witness something like that. You know, even my son at his age now, you know, he's 24. Yeah, 24. I got it right. I'm not that old that I've forgotten his age yet. But on that day when the missus had the heart attack and I had my tiny little mini stroke, he was at work. And you know, just you sometimes forget about the impact these things have on other people around you. And he said to me afterwards, he goes, "Dad, it was one of the worst days of my fucking life. Find out you've had another stroke, or a little TIA, transient ischemic attack, and Mum had fucking 2 cardiac arrests, not even heart attacks, but cardiac arrests where she actually died." Yeah, that's fucking scary. But you know, as a 12-year-old, that's how old your boy is, isn't he? Was he 12 or was it 14?
Yeah, he's 12.
12. That's just horrible. But yeah, tell him there's a bunch of weirdos that have got his back, and thinking of him.
I will tell him. Thank you again, and yeah, thank you for helping sharing the message.
Now, all the best, my man, and we will see you next week. Last week's guest that I cancelled on, I will be getting back. So I'll release some more information on that later in the week. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for sticking with the show. Again, if you can, please support the GoFundMe link in the chat there, and I'll make sure the link is in the video description as well. All the best, everyone, and ciao for now. Say bye-bye.
Cheers, everyone, and thank you.